Hello and welcome to Nordic Still Radio. This is DJ Enigma, and you are listening to the very first episode of Max Gamer. That's right, guys. This is a new podcast going up right now. Started out by me, as well as my brother, Zombie. How's it going, brother?
Pretty good. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty damn awesome, bro. Pretty damn awesome indeed. So we played some games. That's basically what Max Gamer is about. We are looking to strive to be the Max Gamer. We play games, we review games, we tell you news about games and tech and everything in between. And that's pretty much what Max Gamer is in its entirety. Am I not mistaken?
Nope, you're not mistaken at all. If it has anything to do with gaming, gaming news, gaming tech, you can hear it here on Max Gamer.
Well, and not just gaming tech either. I mean, we're reviewing all kinds of tech. I mean, we review, like today, I know that you've got a Zombies Bite. It's supposed to be pretty good. I mean, you got a Zombies Bite for the PS3 Bluetooth headset, I believe, isn't it?
Yep, you're actually listening to me talk on it right now as we speak. And that's what makes it a Zombies Bite. It's not only for the PS3, but it's also for the PC. But we'll get into that a little bit later. What else are we going to be talking about today? I know we're going to be talking a little bit about some Diablo 3.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about. Let me just kind of turn down our music just a little bit because it's probably a little bit loud for our listeners. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We've got the Diablo 3 changes that came out recently. They did a little bit of an article on that stuff, and we'll be talking about that, kind of weighing in on what that does to the game. Because me as well as you have actually played Diablo and Diablo 2 and such, and we remember the good old days of gaming and all that shit. So,
I have to chime in on Diablo. It's got a special spot in my heart. I played it on a Pentium 100, and that was like high-end, top-of-the-line game PCs back then. I mean, we really didn't have aftermarket video cards. 100 megahertz. I mean, today's cell phones go faster than my first PC. And
so I was about to say that was back when like 1 gigabyte hard drive was freaking ridiculous, or a 10 gigabyte hard drive was
2
like
gigabyte hard drives. 2 gigabyte hard drives. And now we have these itty bitty little micro SD cards that hold 32 gigs of memory. Actually, now 64. Can you believe it? That's
it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like we said, Max Gamer is a podcast about everything that completely encompasses the technological world, the technified world of awesomeness that we live in right now. I know that isn't a word, but it's a word now because I said it. It's probably going to be a T-shirt after this show completes. Technificate.
Yeah. We're here to technificate your brains.
That's exactly it.
The way gamers are supposed to think.
That's exactly it. And you guys can go and check us out over at max-gamer.com. You can also check us out at Twitter, which is twitter.com/MaxGamerPodcast, Facebook.com/MaxGamerPodcast, and of course the YouTubes at YouTube.com/MaxGamerPodcast. We try to keep it easy for you. But yeah, we've got we're talking about Diablo 3. We also got some stuff about the new Kingdoms of Amalur. I think I pronounced that correctly. Amalur or Amalur. I don't know. I don't really care. I really don't. But we've got some stuff. You guys can see the enthusiasm in my voice right there. So yeah, we picked up the Kingdoms of Amalur as well. We're gonna be talking about that here in just a moment. I did a really quick playthrough of it. I mean, I really couldn't pick up more than like maybe 25 minutes of it, and I'm pretty sure that Zombie did a more thorough check of that than I did because I just couldn't sit through 90 minutes of it like you did. I really couldn't. It wasn't going to work out at all.
Yeah, I did definitely go through, and I basically wanted to make sure that I gave it a thorough testing. I didn't play the full get out into Amalur and then have 45 minutes worth of gameplay inside of Amalur. Like the demo says, you have full basically access to Amalur for 45 minutes. So if you can run through the entire game, I'm pretty sure it's completely open for you for 45 minutes. But what I did was I basically just made it so that we can put some stuff up on the YouTube, youtube.com/MaxGamerPodcast. And you can look for about 4 parts of it. The first 2 parts are going to be basically the opening cinematic, creating your character, going through the character creation screens, and then some of the first little bit of the quest. And the second and third parts are going to be more gameplay and Amular oriented, so you can actually kind of
Yeah.
see some of the world of Amular. But
Well,
enough of
we'll
Amular. We'll
yeah,
get
we'll
into
we'll, we'll
that a
get
little
in
bit
we'll get
later.
into that here in just a minute. Let's move on. After that, we're gonna have a quick break, and then we'll talk about the Darkness 2, and then we'll get your Zombies Bite, and then we'll end the show out with new releases for next week, which isn't that a lot. There really isn't that much coming out next week, unfortunately. But let's get into Diablo 3 because I know both of us are kind of excited for that.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm supporting
the main
future Diablo 3 wood right now.
the main, well, that's always nice, zombie. I mean, an undead Woody. That's all I needed to know. Uh,
Exactly.
so basically, they came out with an article recently. It was during the week that we were kind of getting our site up and such, and getting some content up. And I wanted to make a news article about it, but I wasn't able to. So we'll just address it here. I mean, Diablo 3 they came out with an article just basically stating that they were going to be making some changes inside of the game that were kind of going to affect the way that the game played from Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. A couple of those changes were kind of big, and a couple of the changes were kind of minor. I mean, we'll just go right into it. I mean,
Yeah.
for instance, one of the big ones that the players of Diablo 2 and Diablo 1 are going to really be like, well, what the heck are we supposed to do now? Is they actually removed the scrolls of identification, which
What?
for those of you that do not know what the
Whoa.
scrolls of identification are, scrolls of identification were used to kind of identify the fundamental properties of weapons or armor and such, kind of give
And
you
allow
a
you to use those
yeah,
weapons or
yeah,
armor or whatever it is, crowns or
yeah.
whatever, as unidentified items in Diablo 2, 1, and 2. You could not use them until they were identified.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it was really one of those things that it was really nice to have if you were in a dungeon and you found a nice piece of armor, but yet you didn't know what the hell you were supposed to do with it because you didn't have identification.
Exactly.
You didn't
It
have it
kind of forced
identified.
you to have to go back to town and get it
Yeah,
identified or
yeah,
have scrolls of identification. And if anybody was like me, I mean, I had like 2 or 3 slots of 10 scrolls of identify with me at all points of times in the games.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with that. If I remember correctly from reading the content and such, I think they're going to be giving you some type of a spell or an ability to kind of help you out with that, so you don't have to have the scrolls of identification. It just kind of gives you the ability right off the bat.
yeah,
So that might be
if I
kind of
remember
nice.
correctly, it said something about that they were gonna make it a skill for all classes.
Yeah,
But then there's probably going to be like a cooldown time where you click on the item, go to identify, and then say 30 seconds later, as you were playing the game, it would say your item has been identified. Then you can go back into the menu and or into your
yeah,
inventory and check out what the stats of it
yeah.
are. Decide whether you're going to use it, wear it, or equip it in some way, shape, or form, or sell it essentially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's one of the big changes that they did in the game. Another big change is they had the class artisans for the entire game, and I think it's pretty standard. It's like mystic, jewel crafter,
yeah,
blacksmith, armor crafter, stuff like that. Basically, what happened was they removed the mystic artisan, which is one of those things where it's like, okay, well that doesn't really make any sense, but then again, it kind of does because mysticism is already kind of dealt with, you know, in the jewel crafting and such. I was talking to you
exactly.
about this on the road, and we kind of arguing amongst each other, and I was saying that basically jewel crafting is mysticism, and you were saying that it wasn't. You were actually kind of on the other side of me. So I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that because I still personally feel that mysticism is kind of a waste of time if you can enchant weapons with just
Well,
jewels. They
it
should just
is.
enroll all of that in with the jewel crafting.
It is. It is a waste of time, per se. It is a waste of time, but what makes it nice is that you could actually, with mysticism, you could actually enchant a weapon and give it certain abilities, like vampiric abilities, where every time the weapon struck an opponent, damage from it would be siphoned through the sword into you as healing, so it'd heal you, and then you could socket it through the blacksmith and put like rubies or diamonds and do fire damage or electrical damage and stuff like that. So you could actually mysticism was another layer of a way of getting extra buffs onto your weapons or armor. So if they remove that, then they basically felt the same way you felt, that mysticism is a waste of time, and socketed items are actually the way that they're going to go,
Well, and
which makes it,
that's not what they've said. That's actually not what they've said. They've said that the mysticism they thought was, like I was saying, they thought it was kind of a waste of time for the character to do. They
yeah,
didn't remove it entirely because basically now what they've done is they've implemented mysticism into the blacksmith. You can now take
gotcha.
your armors and your weapons to your blacksmith, and then he'll enchant them for you.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
kind of
So it's
nice.
not
You know, you
completely
don't really have to
gone,
worry about it. It's
but you
not
just can't do it
completely,
yourself. You
yes,
have
it's not completely removed. It's just kind of out of the player's hands, I guess.
yeah, you have to go and utilize the blacksmith or a mystic of some sort,
Yeah,
to get your weapons and armor enchanted, which basically is just one more step in making me have to go back to town.
yeah.
And I don't know if you play like I play, but I don't like going back to town. I like getting out there and just dealing a whole bunch of damage and creating havoc and mayhem wherever I go. And
Yeah.
happening to go back to town and sell stuff or drop stuff out of my inventory because of weight and stuff
Mm.
like that really just kind of upsets me. So
It does, you know,
I
but
have to go back
it's
to
not
town,
really
unload stuff. But it is
it's
what
not
it
really that
is.
big a deal. It's not really that big because you're gonna have to go back to town at
Exactly.
some point in
At
time.
some point in
So
time, when my healing potions I'm down to 1 or 2, I'm like, ah, crap! I
yeah,
got to go back to town and get more healing potions. So,
exactly. So it's kind of nice to
yeah,
be forced to go back into town. So another thing they removed, which was kind of one of those things where I've never even heard of these things, so I don't even
I
know
didn't
why it's such big
either.
news.
So
But
I'm
they
calling it
removed,
dub, but
yeah, they removed the Cauldron of Jordan and the Nephilium or the Nephil,
F-
not, Nephilim cube. That's what it was.
yeah,
Yeah, see, I know English.
can
I
you
swear I do.
pronounce?
I know English. Yeah, the Nephilim Cube and the Cauldron of Jordan have been removed as well. These basically were implemented to allow the salvaging and selling of items in the field, so the character could basically take an item like a sword that had like a, you brought up a point, like a sword that had a diamond in it. He could take either the Nephilim Cube or the Cauldron of Jordan, break it down into its individual parts, get the diamond out of it, socket it into another weapon, and then sell the sword off. You know, which
Yeah,
is kind of nice. But they've also added that into the blacksmithing artisan as well. So if you go into blacksmithing, you automatically have a salvage ability. So I mean
oh, that's cool.
they've kind of removed it, but they've kept it in the game still. So it's kind of a waste of time to even bring that up.
Yeah, so, but it's a change that needs to be made, and if people like us that don't know what they are, we won't ever really feel that they were there. But some people that would
Yeah,
have these in their inventories in Diablo 2 are probably like, what?
yeah,
This is absolutely just a travesty. But they
yeah,
kept the ability still in the game, which is always nice to be able to go to the
yeah.
blacksmith. But now you're just going to have to be paying gold to have the blacksmith do it, where you could have done it for
Mhm.
free.
Oh, and
Sorcerers.
I don't know if it's the blacksmith that's doing it. I think what they were saying that if you skill yourself in blacksmithing as an artisan, you have the ability to break down stuff. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I was reading at least.
I understand. So
So I don't know. Moving on with that, I mean we're running out of a bit of time to talk about this, and I just want to get to this last little bit. They changed around the core character attributes to different names basically. I mean, I don't know what they are at right now, but from what they changed them to, they've changed them to strength, dexterity, intellect, and vitality. And basically, these are governed by what type of class you are. So strength, if strength increases a barbarian's damage and armor. Dexterity increases the demon hunter's damage. It increases the monk's damage, and it increases dodge. Intellect increases wizard and witch doctor's damage and health gained from health globes. And then vitality increases max health for all classes. So I mean, this is basically a rewarding of the current character statistics and attributes to more, I guess, user-friendly words. I don't know.
yeah, if I remember correctly, what they changed was intellect from intelligence. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe it was something to do with how they wrote the code. You couldn't use a certain number of characters or something like that,
Yeah,
so they
maybe.
shortened it so people would understand. Or Maybe it's something to do with people were like, well, I don't know, understand why intelligence is only a wizard benefit, or why
Yeah.
dexterity is only a demon hunter
Yeah. Yeah.
benefit.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's
Definitely.
why
And
they did
I don't
that.
know.
So
I just think it's one of those things where it was really more of a aesthetic thing, I guess.
gotcha.
I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know. Maybe. They also changed around a little bit. They changed around your character UI, your inventory UI, and it now displays your character stats directly in the inventory UI, so you can see like how much your stats go up and down depending on what type of items you currently have on. So if you've got a
Oh,
helmet
that's
that
a nice
gives you
bonus.
+3 strength, yeah, it automatically displays the buff, So it's kind of
Or
nice.
yeah,
It
the
just kind of makes it
characteristics.
easier.
I could see a practical usage for that, in games like Skyrim. You know, when you put on something and then you don't know what it does to your stats and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So if you have something that adds +3 to health and +2 to strength, and then you
Yeah.
get up to something that says requires X number of strength to activate, you could actually keep, this circlet or a crown or
Yeah.
something on hand and be able to buff you to be able to open a door or bash something extremely
Yeah,
heavy.
definitely.
So
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's pretty much it for Diablo 3. We're gonna move into our Kingdoms of Amalur review right after this. We're gonna take a quick break to kind of get our sponsors' word out and such, and we'll be right back. This is Max Gamer, only here on Norja Soul Radio, where gamers rock.
You're listening to Nordrasil Radio, where gamers rock. Don't forget to visit our YouTube page at www.youtube.com/NordRTV, as well as our Facebook and Twitter at facebook.com/Nordrasil Radio and twitter.com/Nordrasil Radio.
And we're back. This is Enigma with Nordiso Radio, and of course Max Gamer, which is what you're listening to right now, Max Gamer Podcast. Zombie's here with me tonight, as he always is. What's up, brother?
not a whole lot, man. We just got done talking about some Diablo 3, so I'm a little fired up.
Diablo 3, that's
So,
right. So if you guys want to check out the podcast, earlier in the podcast, we're going to have this in the archives in our YouTube page, and then all of these podcasts will obviously be posted up someplace on our website as well, so you can kind of listen back to these and kind of check them out. So
what was that website
yeah,
again, Ty?
it is
what was it?
max-gamer.com. www.max-gamer.com. I am not used to plugging shit right now, but I will get used to it. This is the first episode, so please just remember
Follow
that.
us on Twitter, twitter.com, Max Gamer Podcast. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com, Max Gamer Podcast. You can even go to Google Plus and check us out. Max Gamer Podcast, just search us on there. Otherwise, max-gamer.com is where you can get a hold of us and check out anything that we have to say, to review, to give you guys tech news, gaming news, whatever news. Just check us out. We love hearing from you guys.
And of course, youtube.com/Max Gamer Podcast as well. That's where,
Yes.
as I said before, we'll have all of our content. We post up videos every once in a while on that as well, and then we'll be posting up the podcast as well. So go and check those things out. So, yeah, Kingdoms of Amalur, man. Kingdoms of Amalur.
Kingdoms of Amalur, yes. This game, I've been kind of following it because I follow R.A. Salvatore on Facebook. I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but he wrote the Drizzt Do'Urden novels from the Forgotten Realms series, Dungeons & Dragons. He also wrote the Corona series, which was 100%, his own creation, his own world.
It's 100% win, that's what it is.
Yeah, it is awesome. And if anybody doesn't have time to read the Corona series, you can get it in an audiobook format from, where was that in Enigma?
I can't remember.
Now that I put you on the spot and I put myself on the spot, we
Yeah,
have no clue
it's
where they're at. It's called
graphic audio,
graphicaudio.net,
graphicaudio.com. Something like that.
Something like that. Just, they're pretty cool people. We love listening to them. We're on the road a lot.
They're not,
so.
and what you got to remember is that these audiobooks are not just audiobooks. They're not Microsoft Samson. They're talking to you graphic audio actually goes in and dramatizes it. So you've got sword battles actually sound like there's a sword battle going on. It's basically a movie in your mind.
Yep, that
It's
is
probably gonna be
graphic
copyrighted right
audio's.
there, but
Yeah, of course. But anyway, the whole reason why I bring up
maybe they'll
RA
be
Salvatore.
sponsors.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully. So if graphic audio, if you're listening, free audiobooks to us, please. But R.A. Salvatore is the reason why I brought him up, is because with Kingdoms of Amalur, he actually wrote a lot of the storyline and got with the creators and actually built out of
Yeah,
his brain
he was a
the world.
co-producer of the
Yeah,
entire freaking game.
co-producer
I
of the
mean,
whole game.
like
So
you said, he built the entire world. He used a lot of his character, his characteristics on it and such. He's got a lot of stuff that he's done over the past years, and I mean, that's why I wanted to pick it up, was because R.S. Salvatore did most of the producing on the storyline and the world generation and such. So I'm kind of a little disappointed in it, but I don't know about you, but
I am a little disappointed about it, but let's do some pros. Let's hype it up a little bit, because it is a game that's going to be worth playing. But it's probably going to be worth playing solely because of the storyline, and that's the main thing. I mean, it's got good
yeah,
graphics, good quality graphics. It won't stress most
I wouldn't
systems.
I wouldn't put it that way.
Well, I'm saying it won't stress most systems. You don't have to have, a big, massive, gaming PC to play this game.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you can play World of Warcraft, you probably could play this game. They're only recommending a 2.4 gigahertz or quad core processor with a GeForce GTX 260.
See, this was what make this is what makes this cast so awesome, is that I have a differing opinion than Jake, well, Zombie does, and that's how it works. I mean, he's saying that the graphics are awesome. I'm saying the graphics sucked. I mean, if you're looking at it right now, we're in 2012, guys.
Exactly.
This game should have better graphics than that. It really should.
I'm giving you some pros right now, bro.
I'm giving cons, dude. This is all cons. I have nothing
Okay,
but cons.
well, let's see about some cons for me. I mean, it does have the immersive cinematics when when you're building your character to roll. It goes from a cinematic right into the creation screen, and then back right into a cinematic, and that just immerses you into the game as if you're watching and playing a movie. And that's kind of a pro there. Another pro is that they have really multi-class driven RPG element to it, where you don't actually have to be a warrior all the way through. You can play the whole game until all the way through until close to the end, and then you can say, you know what, I'm done with this warrior stuff. Let's get into some mage, and you can actually switch it up and start putting some mage elements into it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I only played about like maybe 25 minutes of it, if that.
Yeah.
I got through. I didn't like. I mean, I know you're trying to do pros and cons, but I'm actually just trying to give my review on it. I didn't like the actual gameplay. I thought the gameplay was really clunky. There wasn't a lot of fluidity in it. The attacks and such were just kind of, you know, you just went through the motions basically. I mean, you clicked your button, your dude swung. You clicked your button, your dude swung. You clicked your button, your dude swung. Now that's what games are supposed to be. You're supposed to click your button and people swing and kill people. But I mean, it just didn't really impress me all that much.
I completely understand. I mean, and that brings me into some of my cons. One of my cons is that it had that lacking gameplay, akin to games like God of War, more so like there were action games than RPGs. You look at Kingdoms of Amalur and compared to Skyrim, and Skyrim wins hands down every time.
Oh,
Graphics, the same quality level storylines, the same quality level, quest lines, the same quality level world. It just Skyrim wins every time, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But and that's when you're comparing them as RPGs. But when you compare the Kingdoms of Amalur as a action game, it's gonna win over games like God of War. You see what I'm saying? Because of the RPG aspect of the game.
You could say that.
Yeah, I could say that, and like you said, it is that button masher, where you just all you're doing is just button.
I don't know.
Press the X button. press the X
just
button. So.
in my own opinion, I mean, I got into it a little bit. I got the sword, I got the bow, and I got through it a little bit. You know, I couldn't believe that with so much hype and such that this game has had behind it, how unstunning it was. I mean, like literally the graphics was just a texture of grass. Like it was like a picture of grass on the floor and dirt on the floor, and the walls were a picture.
I
Yeah.
had pop-in texture on the cinematic, like when the guy
Yeah.
pulls
Yeah. Exactly.
cloth over your head. I had the wood texture pop in after, and that was just horrible in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I was saying, and with that bow, you know, did you actually use the bow?
I did. It was not impressive. I didn't like it at all.
How did you aim?
It was just you clicked the button and it auto aimed for you basically.
Yeah, auto aim in freaking RPG.
Yeah.
That's just insane in my opinion. Did you use any of your spells, or did you get far enough in to use a spell?
I didn't get far enough in to get a spell. I was like, F this, I'm out of here.
Man,
I was like, I can't take
auto-aim
this
on your
anymore.
spells.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
like,
just one of those. Yeah.
and they only allowed you to play normal difficulty on the demo, and I'm like, I'm expecting like
I saw that.
easy or extra easy
Yeah.
for normal, you know?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I did. You've got written down here the Collins multi-targeting fighting was lacking luster. I will agree with you that multi-targeting was a bitch. I mean, I had like 3 people on me at one time, and I was trying to get one person, while I had the other 2 people hitting me in the back, and I couldn't do anything about it.
I mean, and you're sitting there hitting the space bar to dodge and stuff like that, you know? And I mean,
Your dude just
I could
gets hit.
time it, but you know, I was getting hit almost every time, and it was like, okay, this is just, you know, unrealistic. And then going down, you know, this list, I mean, the spell and staff animation, you know, I thought was, I mean, this is a game. We're gonna be paying, if you buy it, you're gonna be paying $60 for it, okay?
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's the biggest thing that I couldn't justify right there when I was playing that game. I was like, literally, they want me to pay $60 for this.
I know. Well,
I could see paying $30, possibly $25, but I'm not gonna pay $60 for this game.
Well, I'm looking at it this way. I got a staff in the demo, and you'll check this stuff out when I post it up to the YouTube page, youtube.com/MaxGamerPodcast. But I had a staff, and I'm sitting there just beating these guys with the staff, but it's a fire staff, so it's giving me like fire effects, you know. And these effects are just like real flashy, poppy, like they're straight out of a Japanese animation cartoon, you know. Just bop, 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 you know.
You have offended my family on the Shaolin Temple.
The Shaolin Temple. But you look at these effects, and it's doing like 5 damage.
Yeah.
10 damage. And I'm like, why am I even using this thing? I can use the daggers and finish these people off like 10 times
You're
faster.
like, what? Why am I even using this thing? I can kill them faster with my hands.
Exactly. And then that brings me also down to my very last con. And as you can see, I mean, my cons are big cons, okay? But the recycled content from R.A. Salvatore, his novels, that Corona series that I was talking about, the Demon Wars saga, one of the races that you can play is the Dakafar. Later on in the novels, he introduces the Dakafar. Okay, the Dakafar are a dark elf essentially, and here they are showing up in a video game that's supposed to be his own creation, and he's recycling content. Granted, it is his own content, but people that know that name are going to know that name from the Demon Wars saga and the Corona series, not for the Kingdom of Amalur.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why he put it in there, is because he can make a lot more money if he has, you know, the actual game can make a lot more money if it actually has characters that are noticeable and recognizable from the people that have been reading the Corona series and all that stuff and the Demon Wars saga and such.
Then that's fine by me, you know, that's fine by me if you're going to put it in there. But then if you look at it, they're dark elves, but how he, in the novels, I mean, you've read these novels, you've listened to them just as much as I have, you know, while we were on the road and while we were growing up and stuff. But the Dakafar have always been a fair-skinned, peach-colored skin with dark hair. And in this novel, they're dark elves, dark-colored skin.
Yeah, and that's what I brought up with you while we were talking about this. I mean, I was like, the Dakafar are supposed to be like diminutive creatures as well. They're supposed to be like really tiny. They're supposed to be like 4 feet tall.
Yeah,
and these
and
guys,
very
in here, yeah, very lithe, very tiny,
yeah,
diminutive, and they're supposed to have like pointed faces and just
very
it's just
angular
supposed to be,
features,
yeah.
and
It's
yeah,
not supposed to be and the actual character models in this are like buff dudes. I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell is going on here? I don't even understand this.
Seriously, it looks to me like they took a stock action game, added RPG
That's
elements to it,
exactly what they
and
did.
gave R.A. Salvatore basically
That
rights
is
to write the
that is
entire
exactly what they
game.
did.
They spent more money
I'm willing to
on
bet.
R.A. Salvatore's content than actually producing the actual game.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that's exactly what they did. So,
And in my opinion,
yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna give it a 3, out of 4 stars or 3 out of 5 stars. Let's call it that. And I bet that it probably won't get that from like
you're more
IGN
gracious than
and
I am,
stuff.
dude. I gave him a 1.5, dude.
Well,
I mean,
that's why I'm
really,
saying I gave
I
it
was,
a little more because I'm a fan of R.A. Salvatore. But
yeah,
I
like I said, I was
guarantee that
not impressed.
IGN or other gaming review software, places aren't gonna give it that.
Yeah, I was not
And
impressed at all.
it's not gonna
So,
it's not gonna make the sales. It's definitely not the Skyrim killer that it was hyped to be.
yeah, yeah, and like I said, I was not impressed with it at all, and I don't think that a lot of other people are going to be as well. So,
Exactly.
let's move on to our next point because we're running out a little bit of time. I'm glad you guys have stuck with us this far. We are Max Gamer,
Yes,
and
thank you.
this is a new
Thank you.
podcast only here on Nordrasil Radio, nordrasilradio.com, where gamers rock. Um, yeah, so I picked up the Darkness 2 today. Kind of gave it a little playthrough, and I must say I'm liking what they did with it. I mean, they didn't really change anything around with it from Darkness, the first one,
The first one.
but to tell you the truth, they didn't really need to. The Darkness
Oh yeah,
was just
that was
an
awesome
all-around good
in
game.
general. If you're into the whole supernatural and demon-esque type thing, I mean, the Darkness was a sweet game to play.
Exactly,
So.
it really was. And some of the things that I've written down on here. If you guys don't know, The Darkness 2 is coming out here in another couple weeks. It's published by 2K Games. Developer was Digital Extremes. It's a sequel to the critically acclaimed Darkness. The Darkness, the video game that came out in 2010, I believe was what it was. Not entirely sure. It might have been a little bit earlier than that, but basically what's been going on was with the Darkness is a creature from the supernatural world that kind of infects an agent or something like that. I guess is what you would call it.
It's like a
A host,
parasitic
yeah.
supernatural thing, and he infects
Exactly.
a host basically.
And
you play as
it kind of
the host.
corrupts it. It kind of corrupts the host. Yeah, it's really cool. You guys gotta, if you can, go and check it out. I mean, it's probably on the Steam Marketplace for really cheap. You can probably find it at GameStop for really cheap. I mean, if you guys haven't had a chance to pick it up, go and check it out. But the Darkness 2 pretty much picks off from the ending of the Darkness 1. It gives you the same control of the character that you had in the Darkness. It gives you the same control over the Darkness that you had in the original game as well. It's just they've kind of hyped it up a little bit. I mean, it's an ongoing story for your main character, which I can't remember his name. It's like Tony Stefano or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a real thick Italian name. I can't remember it right off the top of my head.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's like, hey, Tony, come
Hey yo,
here.
Tony. Hey yo. Yeah, it was a funny game, but yeah, you got a little different feel from it though. I mean, in the Darkness one, you had a really limited control of the actual Darkness element, but in this new game, they've come out with a new thing called the quad wield, which basically means that you can take dual wielding weapons, which was one thing that made this game really nice. Was it actually had a really good shooting mechanism in it that you could dual wield weapons,
And
which
not
was
just
awesome at that
the
time.
Same weapon in each hand.
Yeah, it's a
You can
different
wield like
weapon in each hand.
A 45 in one hand and a 9mm in the other hand, as long as
Yeah,
you
or like an
so.
Uzi and a 45. It was a really cool game.
yeah,
I mean,
it was
really cool when it came to dual wielding and such. But not only that, you could also control the darkness elements as well, which were basically two little tendrils with like weird little mouths on the end of them. They
Yeah,
talk to
kinda
you
like
every once in a
Tremor's
while.
hands.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. They talk to you. That was the weirdest thing too.
Yeah,
It was a creepy
it's kinda
game.
cool.
But yeah, you could control that in a very limited sense. But in this new game, they've actually given you a lot more control over those two tendrils kind of things, and it creates for some mass havoc. So I mean, it's fun stuff. It's a really gory game, so if you guys aren't really into gore that much, I would not recommend it because you can like tear people in half and rip people's hearts out. And
Yeah, remember the first game. You could send the darkness out and grab your dude.
Yeah.
And they would bite onto your enemy and like pull him apart.
Yeah, that's basically what it does.
Like suck
In this game, in this game, it's called wishboning. they grab him by the legs and he rips him in. It's hilarious. It is hilarious, but it's really gory. So if you guys don't respond well to those kinds of games, I would not recommend picking this up because it is kind of gory.
Sure,
yeah, it's like really MA. So but yeah, that's pretty much all I've had. They gave you a really limited demo. I only played like maybe 15-20 minutes of it. So you got kind of a feel for the the characteristics for the weapons, the dual wield, the quad wielding, and they kind of gave you a little bit of a glimpse into the darkness and everything. And do you remember in the first game where you had those little darkness minions?
Yes, the minions.
Yeah, the minions. Those things were badass. They make a return in this one, and they're even more vulgar than they were. In the first one, they were really vulgar. They'd sit there and just insult you and berate you, and then they'd go and insult people and all that stuff. And in this one, the very first time that you meet one, he pops out of nowhere and then he farts, like right in your face, and then he goes and takes a pee on a dead body. So yeah, they're interesting. They really are. So I would definitely give it a recommendation to go out and check the demo and buy the game if you can. If you can't, rent it for sure. It's good. It's a good play, and I would definitely go and tell you to go and check out the Darkness one as well, because that was a great game as well. And you'll enjoy it a little bit more, knowing more of the story behind the Darkness, and being able to pick it up from there. So
excellent. So
I am gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think right now.
Well, I haven't been able to get a hold of it because, as you know, my Xbox died, and I said screw at Microsoft and just went to the PlayStation 3 and the PC. So as soon as it's available on Steam or the PlayStation Network, I'll pick it up, or if I can get my hands on an Xbox 360 or something like that, maybe I'll check it out. But it'll be available on the PS Network or Steam fairly quickly.
Exactly.
For me to check that out, and then I'll give my review and possibly do some gameplay footage on the YouTube page, youtube.com/MaxGamerPodcast. So
pretty much. So all right, well, we're gonna go into a quick break. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsors, and we'll talk to you in a second.
You are listening to Nordicil Radio.
And we are back. How's it going, everybody? This is Enigma with Nordicil Radio, Max Gamer Podcast. We're having a little bit of difficulties here. It is the pilot episode, so you guys got to remember we are just barely working out the kinks on the broadcaster and everything. So if something messes up, we do apologize about it. But
like Raven's show last week, this is the beta edition.
This is the beta. This is the beta edition of Max Gamer. So yeah, I am Enigma, that's Zombie. Together we make up the Max Gamer. I am the Max. He's not really the gamer though. I don't know.
Actually, I think we're both the Max, and then we're both gamers, because just give people the reason why we even consider ourselves Max Gamers is because I've been gaming for a long time, and ever since you were little, growing up with you and stuff like that, you've wanted to be gaming with me. And so, basically, you've been gaming since you were like 3 years old.
Yeah, probably like 2. But yeah.
So
yeah, it's been a while. It has been a while.
It's been a while. Gaming has been in your blood, pretty much since you were born. And now here we are. And this is what we're doing. So,
I was born with an Atari controller in my hand.
That's actually pretty close to true. When you came back, you came home from the hospital, and I was playing my Atari, and there you go. You wanted to play with the joysticks, so you just had it in your hand, and you were mesmerized by the red button on it.
And not in a gay way.
Slap the red button, so.
not in a gay way, guys.
Not in a gay way.
All right. So, with that being said, that's a little bit of information and history behind Max Gamer. We're going to go into the zombie bite. So let's take it off. This is the zombie bite. It's going to be pretty much a weekly thing that Zombie does. He's either going to be featuring something that he's bought, something that software, hardware,
I've
you
used, the
know, that
hardware that I've
he's used exactly.
review, and I think that it's the best bang for the buck. So,
Exactly.
uh,
So I'm just gonna let you take it off, man. I mean,
okay,
go right ahead.
all right. Well, what this bite is about is, I mean, there's 3 levels of bite. There's a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3. The level 3 bites are, I mean, it's just like DEF CON. If there's such a high, color level or something like that you put on your fucking helmet. Well, a level 3 bite is, you better buy this because you're missing out on the deal of a lifetime. Maximum performance for minimum money. A level 2 bite is pretty much the best performance for the best price. And then a level 1 bite is, I reviewed it, I didn't think it was that good, but I thought it was worthy to mention to somebody and say, hey,
We'll
this is
give
decent.
we'll,
So
we'll give Kingdoms of Amular a 0 bite.
well, yeah, but Zombie says it's a level 1, but not really. Go ahead and you know acquire it if you know what I mean. But anyway, what I'm saying is this week's Zombies bite is a level 2 bite for the Sony PlayStation 3 official stereo headset. And just give you a little bit of history on this thing. Late in 2011, Sony released it. And I finally got my hands on it. I got it for Christmas. My wife bought it for me for Christmas. And this thing is badass. Okay. It's got some lever. It's an over-the-head style wireless USB wireless headset. And what that means is you plug this little dongle into your PS3, and
Dongle.
yeah, and it connects to the PS3 wirelessly, and it's basically a USB Bluetooth adapter that's been coded each headset to each dongle, and this thing has amazing range on it. I mean, I plug this thing into my PS3 and I can go to my garage. That's 20, 30 feet through a couple walls and still be listening to the music, or sound, and talking over the microphone. It's got 40 millimeter drivers, which means it's gonna, when you hear explosions, you hear it in your ears. And when you plug it into the PS3, it pipes all sound, so it makes the room completely quiet, and it pipes all sound right to your ears. And it has a virtual 7.1 surround sound system in it. So, uh, basically, it's $100. You can find it on Newegg for $79.99, and I definitely give it that zombie 2 bite, a zombies level 2 bite, because you can also use it on the PS3. Like I said, you're listening to me use it right now. I just plug it in. It's wireless. It's nice. I don't have that cord, so I can be gesturing all over the places I talk and not hitting the cord. And that's what it is. I mean, it's got excellent range. It's got maximum performance. 40 millimeter drivers makes your music and your sound nice and deep and rich on the bass and stuff like that, as well as the virtual 7.1 surround sounds. That way, people can't sneak up on you and knife you. But Enigma will always be able to sneak up on me and knife me
I
because
was
I'm
about to say,
good.
no matter how good your headset is, dude, I'm still gonna be able to sneak up and knife you in the back because
Exactly.
you run around like a moron with a rocket launcher. And literally, when I say you run around like a moron with a rocket launcher, I mean he runs around with a rocket launcher like a moron. That is his
Yeah. Well,
playstyle.
my first person shooter style is Action Jackson. I just got to get in there and get in the action. If I die, I die. I just come back. That's what video games are for. Respawn. So, but
Yeah.
the
Well,
conclusion is it was a level 2 bite because the price was awesome for the headset that you get. You can play into the midnight hours and you won't bother your spouse or roommates, except for with your talking and your shouts of exclamations of valor and victory when you throw your controller across the room and rage quit and stuff like that. But as well as you can also plug it into your PC and have a gaming headset for your PC, so you get 2 for the price of 1, and that's always worth a level 2 bite in my opinion.
for real, best bang for the buck right there. I mean, if you
Exactly.
guys got $100 to spare, you guys got a PS3, you don't want to spend a lot of money on PS3 headsets because I know a couple of those PS3 headsets are like $300, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, like the Turtle
I mean,
Beach and
yeah,
there's a couple different brands. They're like $200-300, and they're just I haven't had time to get my hands on one, and obviously because I don't have $300, I'm a gamer on a budget here. So, But what I do is if it's worthy of me to try and get my hands on, I do. But those Turtle Beach ones, I'm sure they're nice. I'm sure that they don't have the virtual 7.1. They actually have 7 little itty bitty speakers inside of it,
Yeah.
that give that surround sound. I'm sure it's worth every penny. But you know what? For $100, if you have a PS3 and you game a lot on the computer, it's definitely worth your $100.
Well, there you go.
Off of eBay, or not eBay, but Newegg. So
Well, there you go.
there you
Newegg.com. That's where you want to go for that shit, dude.
Yep.
So, Newegg, if you're listening, sponsor. There you go. Anyways, yeah, that was the Zombie Bite. As I said before, that's going to be a weekly thing. He's going to review whatever he can, whether it's be hardware, software, services, and anything like that. So,
And
Zombies Bite.
If you missed the Zombies Bite, we will try and get this up on the website, max-gamer.com. I've also thought about maybe even trying to get the audio and extracting it and putting it on the YouTube, youtube.com/maxgamer our podcast. And so pretty much just look for it. If you miss an episode and that's all you're looking for is to find out what I have reviewed for the Zombies Bite, it'll be available. So,
and yeah, like I said, it's not just going to be that. I mean, there could be computer hardware, computer builds. We're going to be trying to do some computer builds, see what we can do with that. Because if you don't know, Zombie here built my computer for under $1,000, and it's a badass computer. So let's just put it that way.
yeah.
It runs my games. It does what I want it to,
It
and
plays
I'm pretty
games,
sure it'll do what you want.
It plays games awesome.
Yeah. The awesome factor of gameage is like bar none. So, yeah, that's how that works, guys. So, Zombie Bite, tune in every week over here at Norja Still Radio, norjastillradio.com, where gamers rock. And of course, you guys can check us out over at max-gamer.com, as well as follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/maxgamerpodcast, facebook.com/maxgamerpodcast, and youtube.com/maxgamerpodcast.
Pretty easy.
And that's all the plugs that we have.
I
I mean, it is. It really is. So
now,
I mean, that's pretty much it. So what were you about to say?
Concluding this episode, weren't we going to talk about some new releases for the week?
We were. That's what I was about to get to. I mean, if you guys, if you guys like this podcast, I mean, tune in next week. If you don't like it, tune in next week anyways, because we love the listeners, and you might learn something new. Next week we've got some. We're pretty much going to be ending up the episodes with next week's releases, as up to date as I can get them. So, unfortunately, this week there's really not that much coming out. If you're a Sims fan, the Sims 3 Master Suite is coming out next week for the PC, made by Electronic Arts, of course, and its release date is 1/24/2012. You can go and pick that up at anywhere really that sells gaming gear,
Walmart,
and games,
Best Buy,
and all.
GameStop, wherever, just your local gaming outlet. So, but on top of this, I mean, I know it's supposed to be next week's gaming releases, but next week there is a couple movies that are coming out that are supposed to be freaking amazing. And I know I'm a gamer
about it?
that I like it, and I know that most people will like them as well. But Underworld, the 4th movie in the series, is out now actually, and then The Gray. It has Liam Neeson. It's about something to do about some type of wolves that are chasing Liam Neeson, the group of guys out in the mountains around and stuff like that. And they have to.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why the wolves would be chasing Liam Neeson, because he has a very particular set of skills.
He does have a very
set of skills that make
skills.
Him a very dangerous man. The wolves
Exactly.
like that.
But I thought that since there's not a lot of games coming out to talk about, that I should at least throw those movies out there, so that at least gamers can enjoy something for the next week. Because The Sims, in my opinion, I'm not a Sim
not
fan.
Gonna cut it. Yeah, that's not gonna cut it. So I would recommend going and watching these videos, movies, I should say, and playing Skyrim. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
playing Skyrim.
what I'm probably gonna do.
Playing Medal of Honor, since it was $5 last night.
That was actually one of the gamer on a budget games this week. I mean, if you guys didn't get it, it was only a 14-hour sale, so you guys are kind of effed. It's now $19.
Yep.
But if there for about 14 hours, they had Medal of Honor, the new one, for $5 on Steam. So it was a very good deal.
Intronets to my computer. So
That's right. So, all right, guys. Well, that was the very first episode of Max Gamer Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will be airing this again on the YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Max Gamer Podcast, and it'll probably get played sometime during the week here on Nordisil Radio. Just remember, go to nordisilradio.com for all of your gaming, Nordisil gaming needs, I guess.
If you're LAN partying and you want some good music to listen to,
for real, dude.
nordisilradio.com. That's all.
Especially on Fridays, between the
especially on
1700
Fridays,
and 1900 hour.
1900 hours.
GMT.
You know, exactly.
Yeah, that's my hour.
Yeah, one half of Max Gamer does a DJ slot for 2 hours at 1900 hours on Nordisil Radio. So Friday nights, if you find yourself, landing it up, go ahead.
Check it out.
NordisilRadio.com.
NordisilRadio.com, where gamers rock. That's all we got to say. So go as well over to max-gamer.com and kick yourself a goal over there. There you can check out all of our articles we have up. And of course, you guys can connect to our Twitter and Facebook pages and such. So go and follow us on those ones as well. We try and keep you guys pretty updated on everything news related, gaming news, gaming reviews, tech news, and everything in between. That's what we do here at Max Gamer. And yeah, that's about it for this week, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know I did. What about you, Zombie?
I enjoyed it immensely.
I did as well, man. I did as well. So I'm going to take you guys out. We will talk to you all next week. Keep gaming and have a good week, all right?
Deuces.